Arrival of the official party and remain standing for the parading of the colors, the national anthem, and the invocation. Chief, Aviation Instructional Mechanic, United States Navy, arriving. Electronic Attack Squadron 133, arriving. Color Guard, parade the colors.
Here, colors. Here, colors. Forward. March. Reason. Colors.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Harry. Colors. Forward. March. Colors. Hold.
Chaplain Mueller will now
Colors.
deliver the invocation.
Let us pray.
Dismissed.
Gracious Lord, as we begin this ceremony, pause and give you thanks. We thank you for Chief Jarvis and his 24 years of service and sacrifice, for the missions completed, the challenges overcome, for the sailors he has led and mentored. We thank you for Christina and their children, and for their support of him, and the sacrifices they have made, the various challenges of Navy life that they have overcome, from deployments and PCS to everything in between. We give you thanks for all the friends and shipmates who have provided help and support and mentorship throughout these years. Be present, Lord, as we honor and give thanks today to Chief Jarvis and his family. In your name I pray. Amen.
Side boys, post.
Side boys, left or right, face, forward, march.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. All hands on deck, shipmate going ashore. This order has been passed on naval ships from the 1500s throughout today. Spanish, French, English, Dutch, yes, all navies around the world use side buoys and call to bring aboard, send ashore all ship's company officers, visiting officers, dignitaries, and VIPs. It was not uncommon for the commanding officer to order up the jolly boat, a crew of strongbacks, side boys, and bosun to send an old shipmate to the shore retirement, home, never to sail on U.S. naval ships again. All hands on deck was passed, speeches were made about battles fought upon the open ocean, raging storms weathered, and voyages to distant lands with ports of call others only dreamed about. Tradition had it that the commanding officer would say a few words about the shipmate. Fellow shipmates would present gifts, and the shipmate would have an opportunity to make a couple speeches himself. The retired would request permission to go ashore, and then would be piped ashore, thus closing their distinguished service to the United States Navy. And here we are today. The word is passed. All hands on deck. And we fall in to celebrate the illustrious 24-year career of Chief Jarvis, accompanied by his wife Chris and his family. It now gives me great pleasure to introduce our presiding officer, Commander Stingle, Commanding Officer, Electronic Attack Squadron 133. We will now say a few words and present Chief Jarvis Retirement Awards. All guests, please remain seated.
Thank you, Chief. It's my great honor to be here today celebrating the career of Chief Jarvis. The traditions we hold sacred and put into practice today at our ceremony are unique to the naval service across our nation's military. And our Chief Petty Officers are our primary steward of those traditions. It is honoring that tradition across the long history of our Navy that helps us learn from the past while preparing for the future. PAQ 133, their chief mess, puts that theory into practice every single day, and it's no kidding, the finest chief mess I've had the pleasure of serving with over my 19-year career. Jeff Jarvis is as integral a part of that success as anyone could possibly be. I first met Jeff Jarvis when I was PXO back in the summer of 2020. My immediate impression was, this is one no-nonsense chief. My second immediate impression was, I wonder if he's kind of a jerk. He quickly proved to me that he was in fact a no-nonsense chief when getting the job done. He definitely wasn't a jerk, unless he had to be. Only the way a Navy Chief Petty Officer needs to be, always professionally, always with a good reason, and always to get results. He demands excellence in everyone while practicing excellence himself every day. But that was just my first impression. Once I got to know him, I quickly realized he enjoys nonsense just as much as the rest of us. He's quick with a joke, and his smile will put anyone else at ease. All right, Chief Jarvis has been blessed to share his adventure with the love of his life, Christina Lee, and her 6 boys. I'm about to go through his career. You may or may not hear some of Jeff Jarvis's voice in the following words. He was born in the very small town of Rupert, Idaho on November 2nd, 1980 to Emma Ann and Frank Everett Jarvis. He has 2 sisters and 3 brothers. The early years for Jeff were spent moving around 10 different times across the Mountain West region of America to 10 different states, where he grew up on the road until the age of 8, when his family settled down in American Fork, Utah, which is where he spent his formative years. Jeff graduated a year early from Springville High School in 1999, and immediately joined the U.S. Navy, signing up as a hull technician and shipped out to boot camp the following day. For those who don't know, hull technicians, or HTs, are the plumbers on the ship. Of course, they sold that to him as a badass welder job, which he bought hook, line, and sinker. At Great Lakes, the placement advisors informed him that the HT school was backed up, and the clog would not clear for 6 to 8 months. I'd like to take credit for that, but those are his jokes. Not wanting to stay at boot camp for that long, he opted to take aviation instructional mechanic as a job instead, which obviously was the right decision. He attended day school in Pensacola, Florida, where he was a member of the Flying Rifles drill team and did parades for the Navy while at school there. His first command was VFA 22 in Lemoore, where he arrived in August of 1999 and quickly qualified as one of the first plane captains on the brand new FA-18 Super Hornet, which was still in 1999 a prototype. Jeff was a member of the NS Lemoore Honor Guard, where he participated in almost 100 military funerals, 15 parades, and 4 high school graduations, as well as countless retirements and base events. Following 122, he went to VFA 115, where he helped them transition from the Legacy Hornet to the Super Hornet, and took the aircraft to sea for its first deployment on board the USS Abraham Lincoln right after 9/11. During this tour, his first child, Kenneth Parnell, was born while he was deployed on board USS Johnston Stennis. After 2 deployments with 115, he moved to Fallon, Nevada, where he helped transition the AINU to an AIND and then to an FRC, which obviously were confusing times. During this tour, he had 2 more children, Dale Dean and Michael Allen. Jeff also learned airspeed and earned his Lean Six Sigma green belt at this time. His next tour led him to Whidbey Island to VAQ 140. During this tour, he got to experience the expeditionary lifestyle where he deployed to Aviano, Italy. He also deployed twice on board USS Dwight D. Eisenhower and qualified as a troubleshooter on board on the EA-60 Prowler. One of his best memories of his career is getting to launch from the deck of an aircraft carrying a high-performance aircraft. The most important thing about this period is that this is when he met his amazing wife, Christina, and married her 22 days later after asking her 6 times. Just more, he endured 36 one-month deployments, even though the Navy does not see it that way. CMC does, if anyone's asking. This tour was by far the most challenging and also the most rewarding of his career. He enlisted 63 sailors, many he still keeps in contact with today. During his time as a recruiter, he was recognized as the 2012 Rookie Recruiter of the Year, the 2012 Small Station of the Year, 2013 District Station of the Year, 2014 Female and Nuclear Power Recruiter of the Year, and the 2015 West Coast Small Station of the Year award, earning him his first Navy Commendation Medal. After his tour as a Navy recruiter, he traveled across country to Virginia Beach, Virginia, where he joined VFA 211 and deployed 3 times on board USS Harry S. Truman, and got to see the Arctic, an experience which changed his idea of what cold is. It is there at VFA 211 where Jeff made chief and has many good and developmental memories of his experiences at NAS Oceana, the Chief's Mess, and his fellow selects. Following his time in Virginia, he moved his family back across the country again for a tour back here at NAS Whidbey Island, Washington, and the Wizards at VAQ 133. It is fitting that his 9th and final deployment was on board the same ship he started, the USS Abraham Lincoln. Jeff and his family will be retiring to Utah, where he's looking forward to slower days. He says his new hobby will be collecting hobbies, spending time with his family, and connecting with friends back home. He will leave behind a lasting legacy at VAQ 133 and in the United States Navy. As a leader and mentor to so many sailors throughout his career, guiding them through the challenges of military service and helping them to become the best versions of themselves. His sailors know he fights with them every day, tooth and nail, and that there's nothing he wouldn't do for them. And they will remember him for that for the rest of their careers. He might even arrange an ill-advised potluck in the middle of the COVID pandemic rather than Hank in order to take care of his sailors. He still thinks it was a good idea. He leaves a legacy of mission accomplishment as well that I will personally miss. From maintenance control to the deck plates, he knows how to get the most from people and has been integral to keeping our jets up. He's also a chief's chief. He sets the example of what a chief should be. He's a subject matter expert. He's a trusted advisor. He gets the job done without cutting corners. He takes challenges and turns them into successes. He's a deck plate leader who knows his sailors, shows them that he cares, and again sets the example. He mentors junior officers, junior sailors, new chiefs, and even his front office, making us a better organization every step of the way. He's an institutional expert. He knows his job. He knows the Navy. He knows naval aviation. He knows aviation maintenance. I'm 100% confident that he'll be enormously successful utilizing the skills of his entire career in the United States Navy out there in the real world. Finally, I'd like to honor and mention all of your years of sacrifices. Birthdays, sporting events, holidays, and anniversaries all missed across 9 deployments and times on deck. The amount of time you've shared with us in your Navy life throughout your career and given in service to your country cannot be understated. On behalf of our nation and Navy, I thank you for it. I also want to thank your family for the time that you spent with us from all those important events. It would not have been possible without their love and support. But those days of sacrifice have come to an end as you begin a new chapter in your life, and we are excited for you and your family to taste new home. Fair winds and following seas, we will miss you. Chief Jarvis, Ferguson.
Will the guests please remain seated? Navy Commendation Award. Meritorious service while serving as Maintenance Control Chief, Quality Assurance Supervisor, and Aircraft Division Chief, Electronic Attack Squadron 133 from July 2019 to March 2023. He managed 157 sailors across 13 work centers, completing 1,361 maintenance actions, achieving an average of 5.4 fully mission-capable aircraft during the Western Pacific deployment on board USS Abraham Lincoln, His mentorship resulted in the qualification of 13 safe for flights, 57 collateral duty inspectors, 36 plane captains, and 384 maintenance qualifications, resulting in the highest average aviation manning experience score in Carrier Air Wing 9. Chief Jarvis' superior performance of duties highlights a culmination of 24 years of honorable and dedicated service. By his noteworthy accomplishments, perseverance, and dedication to duty, Chief Jarvis reflected great credit upon himself and upheld the highest traditions of the United States Naval Service. Signed, Captain L.W. Calloway, Commander, Carrier Air Wing 9. Presidential citation. I extend my personal gratitude and the sincere appreciation of a grateful nation to you for your patriotic service to our country. Your bravery and dedication in our armed forces helped project our fellow Americans during a critical moment in our history and contributed to a world of greater security and growing prosperity. Your devotion of duty, honor, and country, in keeping with the long traditions of the finest military in the world, embody the American ideal of selfless service. Our nation owes you an incredible debt. Your commitment and the example you set will inspire further generations to serve with pride and to keep our country secure. You represent the best of our nation, and I join our fellow Americans in saluting your honorable service. I wish you happiness and success in your next chapter. Signed, J.R. Biden, Commander-in-Chief. Fleet Reserve Letter. This is to certify that AMC Air Warfare Surface Warfare Jeff A. Jarvis was transferred from active duty to the Fleet Reserve on the United States Navy on the 31st day of March 2023, after 24 years of service. This certificate is awarded as testimonial of faithful and honorable service. Signed, Commander M.J. Stingle, Commanding Officer, Electronic Attack Squadron 133. Will Chief Jarvis' family please come up to the front? We'll start with the letter of appreciation to Mrs. Jarvis. Today, after completing 24 years of active naval service, your husband has ended a career of honorable and faithful service to his country, and his efforts are sincerely appreciated. Such a rich and rewarding career reflects a strong commitment to the principles of freedom and democracy and the belief that they must be upheld at any cost. That type of total commitment is not possible without the full support of the entire family. Although you may have never had to carry out a military order or deploy in hostile waters, your loyalty and steadfast support of your husband's career can rightly be viewed as service to your country. That loyalty and dedication were significant courses of strength for your husband during an arduous duty, and exemplified the highest traditions of patriotism. On behalf of a grateful nation and the Department of the Navy, I extend to you a sincere thanks and express our appreciation for a job well done. Signed, Commander M.G. Stingle, Commanding Officer, Electronic Attack Squadron 133. Others receiving letters are Jeff's sons Kenneth, Dale, and Michael Jarvis, parents Sean Jarvis, Belvina and Rick Kaminsky, brothers Jeremy, Kenny, and Matthew Jarvis, sisters Rayanne, Clegg, and Jenny Valdez, Uncle Joseph Jarvis, and niece Amanda Jarvis. The family may be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to introduce you, Chief Petty Officer Jeff Jarvis.
All right, well, Skipper stole all my jokes, so, yeah, 1 page. Y'all should be impressed, 1 page. Almost brought a whole ream of paper. See? All right, first, thank you for coming. I really appreciate the support. Thank you for my family, Chris, boys, Rand, thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate the support, and Skipper said it, there's no way I could have done this without the support of my family. You guys have been absolutely amazing. So what is a retirement for? Skipper alluded to stories. We've shared an awful lot of those. We spent a lot of time. Favorite hobby on the ship was telling jokes to Miss Lindley. She has an infectious laugh. One of her favorites is a knock-knock joke. Dwayne is drowning, by the way. I want to impart a little bit of knowledge, where I've come from, what I've experienced. Skipper very eloquently put my career. The potluck was still a good idea. Agree to disagree. From nights of towing airplanes with forklifts, to the Arctic, to hours and hours and hours sitting around the fire, hanging out with my mess. This has been an incredible, incredible journey. People that have had a humongous impact on my life, Mike, thank you. Set me straight when I got a little big-headed, a chip on my shoulder, needed to get knocked down. I really appreciate that. I needed it bad. My sister, Rand, and your husband, Tracy, created an environment where I could witness what a family should look like, what I should be as a man, what I should be as a father, and I cannot overstate that. I appreciate that so much. I can't name enough people. The information that, or the knowledge that I would like to impart. You always learn more from bad examples than you learn from good examples. That is something that we are free of at 133. And I am impressed every day by the things that we are capable of doing. The good examples that we have, continue to learn from those. Several junior sailors that are here tonight, or this afternoon, I appreciate it. I really appreciate you. So the retirement ceremony is for the family. It's an opportunity for the Navy to give back, for them to show their appreciation, their support, their respect for those sacrifices, and I appreciate your work, Skipper. Thank you. I really want to scream O'Doyle rules, but only half the room would get that reference. So thank you all for being here. I really appreciate everyone. Thank you.
On behalf of the 133 Chiefs Mess, I'd like to present to you with this war chest. Historically, traveling armies such as Hannibal collected spoils of war and used them to negotiate with their rivals to try to resolve it with monetary means instead of violence. Later, the war chest would be maintained in the homes and barracks of soldiers and sailors, where the arms and armor were stored, ever ready to provide the equipment needed if and when the call to arms was made. Today, these chests are presented to service members to maintain their uniforms, trinkets, souvenirs, and reminders of their travels. The shadow box in the lid comes from an ancient naval tradition that's still practiced today. When a sailor retires and is departing the ship, it is considered bad luck for the sailor's shadow to hit the shore before the sailor does. Thus, the sailor's shipmates will construct a sturdy box, handcrafted of the finest materials, in which to display mementos of the sailor's accomplishments, thereby creating a shadow of the sailor. Jeff, may this war chest not only serve as a reminder of your achievements, but also as a summation, a culmination of your successful career. And I hope that this allows guests glancing at its contents to gain a substantial understanding of your past service achievements. It's like most of them never going to see. So now we will observe the Navy tradition of passing of Old Glory. The passing of the national ensign through each of the sailors in this detail signifies Chief Jarvis's progression through the enlisted ranks. Will the guests please remain seated? Flag detail. Post.
Flag detail. About face. I am the flag of the United States of America. My name is Old Glory. I fly atop the world's tallest buildings. I stand watch in America's halls of justice. I fly majestic over great institutions of learning. I stand guard with the greatest military power in the world. Look up and see me. I stand for peace, honor, truth, and justice. I stand for freedom. I am confident. I am arrogant. I am proud. When I am flown with my fellow banners, my head is a little higher. My colors, I bow to no one. I am recognized all over the world. I am worshipped. I am saluted. I am respected. I am revered, I am loved, and I am feared. I have fought in every battle of every war for more than 200 years. Tarawa, Korea, Vietnam, the Persian Gulf, Afghanistan, and scores of places long forgotten by all except those who were there with me. I was there. I led my sailors and Marines. I followed them. I watched over them, and they loved me. I was on a small hill on Iwo Jima. I was dirty, battle-worn, and tired. But my sailors and Marines cheered me, and I was proud. I was at Ground Zero in New York City on September 11th, as cowardly fanatics attacked America. I was raised from the ashes of once proud buildings by brave firefighters. Heroes who risked their lives to save others, showing all that America, although bloody, will never be beaten. Those who would seek to destroy me cannot win, for I am a symbol of freedom, of one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I have been soiled, burned, torn, and trampled on the streets of my own country, and when it is done by those whom I have served in battle, it hurts. But I shall overcome, for I am strong. I have slipped the surly bonds of earth, and from my vantage point on the moon, I stand watch over the uncharted new frontier of space. I have been silent witness to all of America's finest hours, but my finest hour comes when I'm torn into strips to be used as bandages for my wounded comrades on the field of battle. When I fly half-mast to honor my soldiers, airmen, sailors, and Marines, and when I lie in the trembling arms of a grieving mother at the gravesite of her fallen son or daughter, I am proud. My name is Old Glory. Long may I wave, dear God, long may I wave. Flag detail. About. Face. Post.
Chief Boudreaux will now read the watch.
For 24 years, this sailor stood the watch. While some of us were in our bunks at night, this sailor stood the watch. While some of us were in school, learning our trade, this shipmate stood the watch. Yes, before some of us were born into this world, this shipmate stood the watch. As the storm clouds of war were seen brewing upon the horizons of history,
this shipmate stood to watch. Many a times he cast an eye ashore, seeing his family standing there, needing his help and guidance, needing a hand to hold during those rough times, but he still stood to watch. He stood to watch for 24 years. He stood to watch so that we, our families, and our fellow countrymen could sleep soundly in safety, knowing that a sailor stood to watch. Today, we're here to say, shipmate, the watch stands relieved. Relieved by those you've trained, guided, and led. Chief Jarvis, you stand relieved. We have the watch. Congratulations.
One key factor in any service members being able to perform their duties is having a strong support from the home front. This is not an easy job, and many cannot do it. We will now take a moment to honor the strong woman who has done it proudly without hesitation. If it were not for the support and unwavering devotion from Chris, Jeff would not have been as successful and have come this far.
The Navy wife. A Navy wife was no ordinary woman. Operating for months at a time without the companionship or assistance of her husband, she routinely overcomes challenges that will give the average person a nervous breakdown. Part doctor, part teacher, and part handyman, she can lavish loving care on a sick toddler, help a teenager with his algebra homework, and track down a faulty circuit breaker, all while holding down a full-time job. With 30 minutes notice, she can serve breakfast, lunch, or dinner to 14 hungry sailors, and still somehow manage balancing her family's meager grocery budget. She can press a set of dress whites to inspection standards, tie a perfect square knot in a military neckerchief, and pack a sea bag in the cold hours before dawn. For months at a time, she must settle for letters instead of kisses, emails in place of hugs, and long-distance phone calls in lieu of her husband's touch. She manages a smile when her sailor is at sea for the second anniversary in a row, and expects the fact that there's a 1 in 3 chance that he will have to stand duty on her birthday. She has learned to stand on the pier and wave goodbye without tears, even when her heart is breaking. To her children, she is chauffeur, umpire, psychologist, spiritual advisor, financial consultant, part-time father, tooth fairy, Santa Claus, and the Easter Bunny. To her husband, she is friend, lover, partner, confidant, and soulmate. She is a patriot. She is the sort of citizen that all of us should be, but so few of us are. She lives with sacrifice because she believes in the rights and ideals that her husband defends. Although she wears no uniform, she is part of that defense, a vital link in the chain of freedom. Although she wears no medals and will reap no glory on the field of battle, she is a hero in the truest sense of the word. She is a Navy wife.
It is my pleasure now to introduce Master Chief Retired Mike Dowdy, presenting the Chief's Petty Officers Retirement Creed.
A couple phones walking up here. Definitely didn't hear the story about the HD. Did you?
No.
Yeah, that would explain a lot
He
more.
kept that quiet.
Yes.
Yes, he did.
I will say that your mentoring of these young chiefs that have made chief in this command, I'm supposed to say, go ahead and read it. I mean, you guys are the ones, he must have stood behind you a lot, trying to decide whether or not to ring the bell, right? Where's it at? Will all chief petty officers, past and present, please rise and cover. Jeff, you have on this day experienced that which comes to all of us who serve on active duty in our Navy. I say our Navy because your departure from active duty in no way terminates your relationship. By law and tradition, U.S. Navy retirees are always on the rolls, ever ready to lend their service when their need arises. The respect that you earned as the chief was based on the same attributes that you will now carry into retirement. You should have no regrets or regrets. Maybe just one. Do not view your retirement as an end of an era, but rather as orders to a new and challenging assignment, to a form of independent duty. Remember well that you have been and will always be an accepted member of the most exclusive of all fraternities, that of the U.S. Navy Chief Petty Officers. The active duty chiefs salute you. Hand salute. 2. The retired chiefs welcome you. Maybe. I wish you the traditional fair winds and following seas, brother. Good luck on your retirement. And you know, if you ever need anything, we're all just a call away. We don't have Viber anymore, but good to see you. Please be seated.
Thanks, Mike. We will now prepare to send the shipmate ashore for the final time. Side boys. Post.
Side boys, left, face, forward, march.
Will the guests please rise and remain standing to the end of the ceremony? Chaplain Mueller will now give the benediction.
Let us pray. Gracious Lord, we again give you thanks for Chief Jarvis and his family, and all they have given and done for the Navy and service to our nation. May they know that they have made a difference. That the time away, the sacrifices, all that mattered, and we are grateful. May they know they'll always be a part of the Navy family. As they prepare for the next chapter of their life, may they find joy in each day. Give them strength and wisdom, guard and protect them. And may your blessing be upon them and all of us. May the Lord bless us and keep us. Lord, make his face shine upon us and be gracious to us. The Lord look upon us with favor and give us peace. Amen.
Chief Jarvis will now report to Commander Stengel and request permission to go ashore for the last time. Chief Petty Officer, United States Navy, retired, departing. All chiefs, past and present, post with the side boys. Chief Petty Officer, United States Navy, retired, and family, the party. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the ceremony. On behalf of Jeff and his family, thank you very much for being witness to this time-honored ceremony. It looks like we've beat the opening of the bar, so if you'd like to hang out for a little bit and support